Eden stood on the porch of her new home, a small cabin nestled near the edge of Lake Hollow. It was a modest place, but the rent was cheap, which was all that mattered now. The rest of her savings went to paying off the mortgage on the old house, the one filled with too many memories. She'd sold almost everything else. New start, clean slate, that's what everyone said. Easier to heal that way. She could still picture her son, Liam, running through the halls of that house, his laughter echoing like wind chimes. But laughter felt foreign now. Liam was gone. Her husband, John, had followed 2 years later. His heart, the doctor said, simply unable to bear the sorrow. Eden wanted to disappear too. Lake Hollow, a place where she and John had spent their happiest summers, seemed as good a place as any to disappear. She unpacked, slowly, her movements mechanical. The air in the cabin felt thick, heavy with the scent of pine needles and the weight of her grief. Eden placed a single photo on the nightstand, a picture of her, John, and a gap-toothed Liam, beaming at the camera. It was the only photo she'd kept. Her reflection in the window pane startled her, a stranger with shadows in her eyes. The townspeople, with their sympathetic glances and well-meaning but empty words, were suffocating. Eden avoided their gazes, their attempts at conversation. She started her days before dawn, her trips into town limited to quick dashes for groceries, just as the sun began to set. The worried whispers followed her like phantoms. Poor Eden, they'd murmur, lost her whole family. She could hear the pity in their voices. The cabin became her sanctuary, her shell. She kept the curtains drawn, the sunlight an unwelcome intruder. Mirrors were banished, covered with sheets. She couldn't bear to see the reflection of her hollowed cheeks, the haunted look in her own eyes. Even God, once a source of comfort, felt distant, a silent observer to her pain. Eden stopped attending Sunday services, stopped saying her prayers. What was the point? Where was God in her pain? Where was the comfort in faith when her heart felt so shattered, so irrevocably broken? She felt adrift, unmoored from everything that had once tethered her to the world. Grief was a relentless companion. It clung to her like a shroud, a constant shadow in her waking hours. The silence of the cabin was deafening, broken only by the creak of floorboards and the whisper of the wind through the trees outside. She saw Liam everywhere, in the flitting shadows of the forest, in the ripples on the lake, in the dust motes dancing in the stray beams of sunlight that snuck through the cracks in the curtains. Her dreams were no escape. They were filled with a kaleidoscope of images. Liam's laughter, his scent of freshly cut grass and sunshine, the feel of his small hand in hers. Sometimes the dreams were beautiful, a bittersweet ache in her chest. Other times they were vivid, agonizing replays of the accident, the hospital room, the cold, sterile silence that followed. Eden would wake up gasping for air, her sheets damp with tears, the line blurred between dream and reality. Were these visions real? Were they merely fragments of memories or something more? She couldn't tell anymore. The uncertainty chipped away at her sanity, leaving her raw and vulnerable. One night, driven by a wave of despair so profound it stole her breath, Eden stumbled out of the cabin and towards the lake. The air was heavy with the scent of pine and the promise of rain. She sank to her knees at the water's edge, the cold sand seeping through her thin nightgown. Tears streamed down her face, hot and raw. "Why?" she cried out, her voice cracking. "Why did you leave me, John? Why Liam? Why am I being punished like this?" Her words echoed across the stillness of the lake, swallowed by the vast emptiness. She felt so alone, so utterly abandoned. Then a sound, faint at first like the rustle of leaves, but growing stronger. It wasn't the wind, it was a voice, a child's voice, soft and calming, carried on the breeze. "You're not alone, Mama." Eden's head snapped up. She searched the darkness, her heart pounding in her chest. The voice was gone, but the warmth of its presence lingered, a spark of something akin to hope in the desolate landscape of her grief. The next morning, drawn by an invisible force, Eden found herself reaching for the old family Bible, untouched since John's passing. It lay on the bottom shelf, gathering dust. As she brushed the dust off the cover, a slip of paper fluttered to the floor. It was John's handwriting, a bookmark, placed there long ago and forgotten. Her fingers trembled as she unfolded the paper. A single verse was underlined, the ink faded but the message clear. "I will restore to you the years the locust hath eaten." Joel 2:25. Tears welled up in Eden's eyes, but this time they weren't tears of despair. They were tears of a heart starting to heal, a flicker of hope igniting in the ashes of her pain. It was a promise, a whisper on the wind, reminding her that even in the deepest darkness, dawn was inevitable. And maybe, just maybe, she could learn to live again.